Wall Street takes a hit. What's keeping the Dow down? Next on 10 News.
Live from the Script Studios, this is San Diego's news source, 10 News.
Nice to have you with us on this Tuesday midday. It is shaping up to be one of the worst days of the year on Wall Street. I'm Koshal Patel.
And I'm Bill Griffith. The major indices have fallen to their lowest point since early September. Take a live look right now. With the election 2 weeks from today, that's where the Dow sits, off 213 points. 10 News reporter Melissa Messiah here with why one financial analyst says still might not be enough to sway voters' minds.
And Bill, this is so important because all eyes right now are on the economy in the days leading up to the election. And even though what we're seeing right now is a big drop, one analyst says it's really still too early to tell how and if this will sway the minds of undecided voters.
The smiles quickly disappeared after opening bell this morning. Midday, the Dow dropped nearly 2%. S&P 500 and NASDAQ not doing much better.
We've been due for a decline.
Dennis Brewster with Sage Point Financial says overall it's been a pretty good year. But what the market hates most is uncertainty. Weaker than expected earnings reports and the outcome of the election certainly playing key roles.
Looking ahead, they weren't so optimistic. So between that and the election coming up, I think that's created enough anxiety to finally get some kind of sell-off here in the markets that we haven't had for quite some time.
Although Monday night's debate focused on foreign policy, each candidate knew just how important the economy is to voters, and they made a final push to convince the undecided in an election still neck and neck.
I know what it takes to get this country back, and we'll work with good Democrats and good Republicans to do that.
Made real progress digging our way out of policies that gave us 2 prolonged wars, record deficits, and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
And I just checked here about 10 minutes ago. An average of the major polls shows Romney is up about half a percentage point. Now, Brewster adds in the whole grand scheme of things, this drop isn't that bad yet. Now, at 11:30, we'll share with you what he thinks will not happen as we inch closer to Election Day. Melissa Messiah, 10 News.
All right, thank you, Melissa.
Live from the Script Studios, this is San Diego's news source, 10 News.
Shaping up to be a miserable day on Wall Street, one of the worst of the year. Remember, we were off 200 and some last Friday, but take a look at the Dow right now.
Yeah, you can see that it's off 225 points, almost 2%. You know, the NASDAQ is down at 23 points, S&P 500 down 20 points as well. 10 News reporter Melissa Messiah shows us what one financial analyst says will not happen in the days leading up to the election. Melissa?
And Koshal, not a good day here. Well, you know the saying, what goes up must come down, and one financial analyst says we are due for a drop like this. Experts don't expect huge increases before the election, and with 2 weeks until the big day, this drop, they say, isn't enough to sway voters' minds just yet.
Opening bells started with the usual fanfare, but quickly that changed.
This year's been pretty good so far. Looking ahead, they weren't so optimistic.
Big companies reported weaker earnings than expected, including DuPont, 3M, UPS, and Xerox. Another huge factor here, the election, still neck and neck. An average of the major polls shows Romney is up half a percentage point, but the battleground states are still anyone's game.
Anytime you've got something that's uncertain, that's what the markets hate more than anything. They hate the uncertainty. And there's no question there's a lot of uncertainty. Who's going to win? It's too close to call.
Even though Monday night's debate focused on foreign policy, Obama and Romney often brought it back to domestic issues. Each candidate knew just how important the economy is to voters and made a final push to convince the undecided.
I know what it takes to get this country back, and we'll work with good Democrats and good Republicans to do that.
Made real progress digging our way out of policies that gave us 2 prolonged wars, record deficits, and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
And I also spoke to another political analyst who says really in the grand scheme of things, this is just a hiccup. But if we do continue to see a downward spiral in the markets, that's when we can expect it to take a direct toll on the election. Melissa Messiah, 10 News.